Ladies and gentlemen, I'm Shomer Effen Shabbos, and I'm here to tell you exactly why this solution is actually going to solve the very big problem that we have. It's quite clear that the status quo doesn't work. It's very clear that the Hamas say bad things about Israel. They had a pigua yesterday. They have attacks which happen. They have sent missiles into Sderot. The status quo isn't working. The question is, what can fix the problems? The problems of insurgency, the problems of terror. We feel that our belief, the multinational corporations going into Gaza, will do exactly that. The players here are quite simple. If we can prove on government side that there will be less of what is going on right now, and things will be better, that we feel is enough of a game. We feel that if that can bring to the tables and discussions of peace accords, that's great. But at least we can prevent what is happening now and the damage, that is sufficient cause. Further than that, we would like to say that it's clearly in the interest both of Israel and of the Hamas to do this, and of course the corporations. Now my points are going to be, first of all, an analysis of the players, why it's in their interest. Secondly, I'm talking about the cycle of luxury and explain why this is going to work. And finally, I'm going to explain why even some benefit is clearly enough benefit. A few things, points of rebuttal, first of all. They talked about the multinational corporations saying they don't love the people. It doesn't matter if they love the people or not. If they see a resource they want, it's in their interest. 3 million new customers, that's in their interest. We think that is sufficient reason enough for multinational corporations to go in. They want to go in. We're the ones keeping them out. That is what has to change. The corporations wanting to be there is relatively clear. Also, we feel that it is interest, as Greg said, that the Hamas would want them there, because the fact is that what is important to Hamas, and this will lead to my first point, my rest will come within it, is stability. Stability is very, very important. Hamas won because PLO weren't delivering. And unless they rig and control the next election, then they're not necessarily going to win if they can't provide their people enough to say, you know what, we did right by you. Now, I would like to go a bit further in the Hamas. The first thing about analyzing the players and why it's going to work. The Hamas has a 10% terror arm, but actually 90% a social organization which works with soup kitchens, builds schools, and provides for people. That's why they won. But that doesn't mean they're going to keep winning if they're saying, you know what, we're getting blockaded. You're not getting the same resources. Your luxuries aren't going up, they're going down. Erickson brought an analogy that legitimacy equals economy and stability. It's a trade-off. If people are living well, they like you and want it to keep happening, your legitimacy goes up. But if they're living poorly, then your legitimacy goes down. We feel that as long as the Hamas want to keep their people in check and avoid something which exists there called faction wars, which break off all the time because they think their leadership could be better, we think it is clearly in their interest to give the people what they need, especially when it's not from Israel. The fact they don't want to play ball with us doesn't mean they don't want to play ball at all. Yes?
You need to show us there's not only benefits, but there's no other option, which we'll show you that there are.
Okay. Thank you, and I think that this is the best option. The other options won't work as well. Okay. That said, about the issue finally, which she said about Hamas being ideological and only for arms. First of all, reality check. One is no. They said they don't develop infrastructure. First of all, they already do develop infrastructure. Secondly, there is targeted development aid which works, which they use. And thirdly, is right now they have a lot of unemployment. These people are going into factions which have a lot of infighting, and this is against them. This makes their reign less stable. Because the fact is this: when they won their elections, they only had over half. But they didn't have enough of the population that there were still over 30% who wanted the PLO or against it. There's a large enough group there who says if you don't deliver, it's not our interest to keep you here, and those who didn't vote for the beginning. Now to switch to the Israel side. What is Israel's interest to let the multinational corporations in? Because Israel is a very big player. We feel Israel are the ones we right now have our hand on the tap. Do we allow them? Do we not? So for Israel, the interest is quite simple. Right now, our people do not feel secure. Right now, something could happen at any moment. Our wall is not working, and we feel that this specific rebel group and this specific faction is someone who threatens not only our people's lives, but the security and the feeling of security for everyone, about themselves, about their children, about any other of their proxies. We think that at the end of this point, along with that, Israel feels that even if we don't necessarily bring them to negotiations, if they have more of what to lose, if the corporations could pull out, and that would move stability, we feel if they're talking to someone, and that means they're attacking us less, this is worth our while. And it definitely means Israel can spend less on military, less on resources to keep them there, because they know there are other factors. There's something which didn't exist before, which means there's something to lose, which they can't have when they're not getting anything at all. Yes?
So creating a stable Hamas Hamas is really going to make people feel safer when you yourself said that Hamas's only interest is to be against Israel, so making them stable?
Okay. First of all, example with the FARC. They said, we're not going to trade for the people that you kidnapped. The FARC saw that didn't work and began to kidnap less. The area calmed down because they realized that that was something which wasn't going to work, and in exchange, they actually began to work on creating a more stable reign and bringing in more luxuries and the such. Now, it hasn't advanced that far yet, but the fact that it's much more stable shows that it does work to some degree. Not negotiating, plus allowing for luxury and stability, does bring that. This is a cycle of luxury, which is what I've begun and will continue. The fact is this: more money equals more of what to lose. But along with the arguments that a middle class will bring for more votes and more democracy and more awareness, we think that if you take it one step further with this group and the people in Gaza, we can see that this is not a crazy ideological population. The leaders do provide for their people. They do work within government channels. They do build government bodies. The fact is that they're clearly not this crazy group who only spends money on weapons. They don't necessarily have the access to weapons, but they clearly do far beyond. The cycle of luxury is what exactly will make this work with the rebel group and bring Israel to have an end to the problems. Finally, to the end of what we have here and why we think this is clearly on our agenda. We can see that the groups, when they have no other option, do whatever it takes to control their people by use of force, by use of propaganda. And second, we see Hezbollah. They deal in drugs. Other factions, when they have no choice, turn to whatever is necessary. These things harm us within themselves. We feel that if they're going to sell things we don't want on a black market because they have no choice, then the best option is to give them an alternative. So on the side of government, we think very, very strongly the reality in this specific case is exactly the example of a rebel group. A rebel group who is threatening the larger whole. If we can get them to threaten less, the larger whole benefits. For all of these reasons, as we have said here, we think that even a small difference of more security and less violence works. They're willing to talk, just not to us. Let them talk to someone else. That will be a difference. Thank you very much.